AITA for choosing a trip over babysitting my niece? I am not Oop. Oop is you, Mysterious Froyo 887. She posted in r, Am I the Asshole? Fun fact to cover up spoilers on mobile. You, Panonica requested vultures. Vultures lack a syrinx, a voice box, so are mostly silent, and can only make hissing, grunting and bill clacks, sounds that don't require complex vocal cords. Their stomach acid is very strong and corrosive, allowing them to break down substances that other animals and humans cannot. Mood spoiler. If you like to travel, this may make you jealous. Less than. Original post. March 1st, 2023. I, 27F, have been planning a long trip abroad for some time now. I worked remote, so it's easy to pick up and go, and this is my first time doing it. I was laid off recently, but since I have a lot of money saved and the trip has already been paid for, I've decided to go for a sabbatical. For months, I have had to convince my parents, grandparents, and siblings that I am going to safe places, that I have enough money, and that they don't need to worry. I finally had them in a good spot. I leave in about 2 weeks. Recently though, things have changed. I normally end up taking care of my niece, 2F, for my sister, 32F, at least once a week. My sister goes to work 3 days a week and works 2 days from home. And her husband, 39M, works from home but has to stay near his computer at all times since he works in customer service. On the weekends, they enjoy going out to things like hockey games, dinner, etc. I normally take care of my niece during those times. It tends to work out because they will go out on Sunday, so I will have my Friday and Saturday nights. But with this trip, of course, I will not be able to babysit. My sister was joking about this one day, and recently my parents have been asking a lot about my trip and what about my niece. I was confused and asked them to elaborate. Apparently, 2 years old is an important time in a child's life, and they said that she wouldn't remember me when I got home. They want me to shorten my non-refundable trip and come home earlier so I don't miss out on any milestones. I told them that I couldn't, and that was final. Now they have been amping up the guilt. They have also gotten my grandparents involved. The only support I have is my brother, 30M, who also never sees my niece except for special occasions. They are also bringing up my recent layoff and my financial state. I don't want to brag, but for a 27-year-old, I have a high enough savings account that I could live for a year and never work. I've been laid off a lot, so savings was a priority. I could still travel and do everything I want. I have no loans, no current apartment now, and have all the big things paid for. But despite my knowing I am fine, they are starting to scare me and guilt trip me into staying. Tonight it all blew over. My sister called me an a-hole in front of my family since I won't be able to babysit. What is she supposed to do on the weekends? I yelled at her and told her to, finally, hire a babysitter. My parents are on her side and told me that, you should help out more. I yelled at all of them that it was not my responsibility to parent the child. They could live for a few weeks without their free babysitter. I then left. My brother texted me later that they are still angry and disagreed with my choice to continue my trip. AITA for choosing my trip over my niece? Edit. Same day. A lot of people have asked. I will be gone for just under 4 months. I will be traveling around Europe with a short trip to visit a friend in South Korea and coming home. I suppose that would be more than just a few weeks lol. But not the point. Relevant comment. People question how much she has and if her parents had helped her monetarily before. No. I have over a year's worth of savings. Yes, that means I can pay rent and other expenses for a year without work. I have been laid off a lot since the pandemic. About 3 times. I've bounced back every time, but this required me to save as much as I possibly could. I took my time with saving for years, invested a lot, and now just can simply walk free. My parents don't bail me out. This is the first time I've lived with them since moving out when I was 24. I only moved back in so I wouldn't have to worry about an apartment for the time being. I think my parents are already scared of me traveling alone and wanted another excuse as to why I shouldn't go. OOP is voted NTA. Update post. March 7, 2023. 6 days later. Hey everyone. First off, I want to thank everyone that commented on my last post. It blew up, so I wanted to update really quickly. I wanted to answer a few questions. 1. Yes, I have a year's worth of savings. This means that I can pay for rent and other expenses for up to 1 year without a job. 2. I do plan on continuing to look for a new position and take interviews when I can. I hope that I can get a new one because in my state I am unable to get a new apartment without proof of income at my age. 3. I only moved back in with my parents temporarily. It's been a month. I wanted to save money and not have an apartment. They are also storing all of my stuff. They are normally okay parents, but they play favorites. 4. I will not go no contact with my family, but maybe low contact. They are important to me. But I will take your advice to stop babysitting every Sunday for my niece. It's obviously been a bad habit for my sister and Bill. On to the update. Today was my niece's birthday. It was a small get-together of my family and some friends, and it was a really good time. After the party, my sister pulled me aside. She apologized for getting my mom up in arms about the babysitting. She knew I wanted to go on the trip. We hugged and I accepted her apology. For your information, my mom and I don't really get along. I don't like how she treats people, and her favoritism has always caused some insecurity. Though she has helped me a lot and I am grateful to her. I will always be the bratty, youngest daughter, and I've come to accept that. Unfortunately, because of her, I have this people-pleasing behavior that I am trying to break out of. Hence the pure turmoil between choosing my trip over my niece. My mom is very controlling. The only reason I am still in contact is because of my dad. He's my best friend. I would hate to leave him behind. He understands my problems with my mom. He hasn't tried to fix much. He doesn't know how, but he listens and takes my feelings into account. It means the world to me. When my mom heard my sister complain, she decided it was going to be a good way to keep me home. She told the family about how a little girl shouldn't be traveling alone. She's mentioned the Natalie Holloway case, and that set a lot of people off. She watches a lot of Lifetime and Dateline. It's why everyone started hounding me in the first place. Then she added on my lack of a job and my other responsibilities. Babysitting. So that everyone would agree that I shouldn't go. Now the big update is that I did choose my trip. In fact, I'm planning to extend. Maybe I'll travel more around Asia or go to Australia since I will be over there. TBD. But I wanted to thank everyone for the advice and the good wishes. You all have made me feel so much more confident about this trip. Thanks again. Edit. My parents do babysit once a week as well. Just during the weekday since they are retired. I marked this as ongoing in case OOP decides to update more about her trip. I wished people would get it through their heads that the enabling parent is not nice. They are complicit. How come they never thought of hiring a babysitter for the child? Did they think that OOP's gonna stay unemployed all her life just to take care of their child? Shirking responsibility of your own child is a sign of negligence. Anyways, happy freedom as well as travels to OOP. I'm glad OOP was able to hold firm to her boundaries and decide to go through with the trip. She deserves to take time off and not burn out with responsibilities of babysitting. I wish the best for her. I'm so glad she made the decision to go. Using Natalie Holloway as a reason Oop shouldn't travel alone doesn't make sense because Holloway was not traveling alone when she disappeared. Oop sounds like she has a good head on her shoulders. Her family needs to respect her decisions. This feels like a story where it appears that the sister is the villain. Yet it turned out the mom was the villain all along. There are always people writing with one awful parent and another lovely, my best friend, parent. They don't seem to understand that the amazing parent is just as bad. They have watched the bad parent be bad, show favoritism, scapegoating, etc., and the lovely parent just shrugs their shoulders, watches their child be treated badly. The truth is that the nice parent is a weak coward. They don't want to rock the boat and are happy not to be on the receiving end of the bad parents' antics. Just to make sure this is clear, Oop is the younger sister. Takes care of her niece on Sundays so that her older sister and her husband can have a date. Day, night, whatever. And then when Oop says that she can't babysit for a few months, the family's response is that she shouldn't go because the 2-year-old could have milestones that Oop could miss. What milestones does a 2-year-old have? First large temper tantrum? I'm sure the parents would love to babysit their granddaughter once a week for a couple of months. Talk about entitled. I hope Oop has a blast traveling EU and wherever else she decides to go and for however long she's gone. You know, my little brother sadly died in Cambodia. He was hit by a drunk driver. It was a terrible tragedy for my family, but I'm glad he got to visit the world before he died. The timeline where he was too scared to travel is horrible one, where his beautiful spirit would have been crushed by insularity. I would have lost my brother either way, but he was happy those last few years of his life, and that is precious. I would never tell anyone not to travel out of fear. My brother just had a moment of bad luck. I hope Oop has a wonderful time. I'm glad her sister apologized. I'm glad she recognizes her mother's toxicity. And my other responsibilities. They hands clapping aren't hands clapping, your hands clapping responsibilities, hands clapping, that's someone else's child. I lived abroad for a year when my youngest cousin was 1. She turned 2 while I was away. Guess what? She remembered me when I came back. Her parents kept talking about me and showing her pictures of me, and most importantly loved me. Toddlers that age are mimics. If they see their parents trust somebody, they do too. I have a photo of my uncle, my niece and myself from 1 or 2 days after I returned. My uncle is openly wiping away tears of joy, and my cousin is sitting looking at me with the biggest, most gorgeous smile you can imagine. The look of love as clear on her face as it could be in a 2-year-old. Don't tell me she didn't remember me in some shape or form. And she was a lot younger. And I was gone a lot longer than the Oop. Good luck to Oop. Hope she finds a job and be able to move out soon. Feels like more trouble brewing if the free babysitter start finding her new shiny spine and stand her ground. If I had a nickel for every story I've read on BORU this month about a well-to-do child-free sibling choosing travel over babysitting their nephew, niece, I'd have 2 nickels. Which is weird. Oh no, I'll miss part of her terrible twos. How will I live with myself? Oops, that's my ride to the airport, bye. Quote. Anyone get the feeling OOP's parents will call every embassy in the country Oop is in at the moment? Or do something super helicoptery while she's gone? She'll remember you, she's not a goldfish. It feels like there are a shocking number of people who expect their child-free relatives to be free. On-call babysitters because obviously they must have nothing but free time and nothing else going on in their lives. I am super grateful that my brother and sister-in-law don't do this to me. On the rare occasions they ask me to babysit, I always say yes, and I've even rearranged other plans to do so. In large part because they don't just expect it, and they're always super grateful when someone helps them out. Oop, might not get this chance again. I have 2 kids now, but I will never regret all the adventures I had in my 20s kid-free. That's part of why I've been ready. I know it sounds like first world problem, but the carefree lifestyle gets boring after a while. It starts to feel the same. Having kids is definitely a new chapter, and I hope the sister wanted her kids enthusiastically in. Not because that's what you're supposed to do and the mom was pressuring for grandbabies. I don't understand Americans who think traveling to Europe is dangerous. You are more likely to get shot in the US in a school than get killed as a tourist in Europe. I just want to thank you for the post formatting, especially for explicitly mentioning the time gap between the updates. It makes the context much more clear without excessive scrolling. I wish more posters here would adopt this style as well.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Haircast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.